Wow, holy shit. This is steep. Oh my god, this is like a roller coaster. What a nightmare. Oh, and now we're gonna turn right? Jesus. I can tell the bike who's boss. All right, everybody, it's all happening. We're locked and loaded. Alrighty. Alright, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the mayhem. Wow, this is kind of crazy. It doesn't feel very, first impressions, it for some reason kind of reminds me of the live wire. I'm still in first gear. It doesn't even seem like I've got to gear up. Oh, we're gonna have problems with this mount. But yeah, we're just cruising, below 20 miles per hour, getting our sea legs. I think I might have to adjust those mirrors, but feels good. These are just first little go around with the bike. I'm on this amazing little test ride. I don't know how to adjust this. Bike feels very natural, feels very easy so far. And I'm with all these ladies. Yeah, something about I don't know, it's very lightweight so far. We'll have to see about the nimbleness. Yeah, it feels like so, I don't want to say scientific, that sounds kind of random. But it feels like, I don't know, very modern. It feels significantly more modern than my Scrambler. Ooh, oh my god, does that feel good? Alright, let me see, I'll gear up to second. Just kind of playing it cool, nothing crazy. Oh my god. Wow, does that feel good? Holy crap, I love that. Wow, I don't know. I feel the technology. Is that a stupid thing to say? It sounds kind of interesting. Kind of sounds like a box of rocks. I don't want in a good way, Am I neutral? Ooh, look at that gear indicator. So handy. Yeah, I don't know what to do about this. It's not the right size. Hopefully I've got something else I can swap it out for in my backpack. But we are in, honestly, this is a gorgeous day for riding in San Francisco, I think. I've got a couple layers on and I think I'll be nice and comfy. I love how the weight of this feels. I mean, they pared down a lot on the weight. That was one of the biggest things about these new Ducati monsters. They did away with parts of the frame and leaned out a lot of the engine, and I don't know, they did quite a few really great things to make the wet weight cruise at 415 pounds-ish, 414. So that's awesome. It feels very similar to my Scrambler with weight. I don't know. Yeah, it feels very lightweight. It honestly almost feels lighter than my Scrambler in a way. It's just I think maybe the distribution of the weight. I can flat foot on this, which is cool, and part of that is because of how narrow the body of the bike is. They talked about in the presentation a little bit with us. The bike is leaner through the middle, and that really helps people accommodate, helps accommodate shorter inseams, because it's not just you standing straight. Part of the inseam is how wide your legs stance has to be. So because you can kind of be a little less spread, so to speak, it's a lot easier to flat foot or tippy toe or whatever you got to do on this bike. I think that's really great. That's going to make it a really approachable bike for a lot of people, because I know obviously it's ideal to be able to handle a lot of different bike heights. It's ideal to be able to just have the confidence on the bike, but honestly when people are starting out, it's even nicer to just be able to put your toes on the ground and have the whole ball of your foot. So I've got a pretty long inseam, so I'm not the best advice for short riders, but they've got all these different iterations of seat height and suspension mods that you can adjust for yourself. So this bike literally has so many features. I'm not even going to cover it all in this little blip because there's a lot. But we're just cruising around in urban mode because we are in urban San Francisco. It's quite a bit of traffic, so we're not really moving along a whole lot. Ooh, nice dog. Yeah, so far so good. There was actually zero anxiety when I started going, because every new bike you just kind of feel a little nervous, and especially with the live wire, man. And when I did my live wire test ride, someone like wiped out around the cones on their way back, so I was like, oh no. But it all went well for me and for everybody else. Yeah, this bike, there was like zero anxiety. It just feels so natural. A lot of people say kind of the cute thing about Ducatis, it's like a duck to water. I mean, obviously I've got my scrambler, so I'm accustomed to this, and this handlebar setup is really comfy. One thing about this bike too is they've kind of improved the turning radius. It's just like handling of the bike. You can just see all this real estate. I don't want to speak too soon, but honestly, oh cute. Honestly, this feels like an excellent all-arounder bike. I'm only just now on it, but it really feels like one of those amazing bikes that can grow with you. Everyone's a big fan of us. One of those bikes that can grow with you. I talk about starter bikes that aren't like beginner bikes. It's nice to start on something that you don't want to get rid of in a season. And because this is all these amazing modes, it's just so rideable. It makes it quite excellent for someone who's just starting and for someone like further along in their journey. That's one thing about my scrambler, the Cafe Racer Scrambler, is, I mean, I love it. And it was a second bike for me, but some people might not find it that approachable as a beginner bike. It's a little throttle sensitive, but that's a vibe to me. It's a little sporty. This bike is like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of how the XSR 900 felt and the FZ07. It's like it's like the FZ07, but a lot nicer. And Dan's got the MT09, so I still haven't taken that for a spin because he's very protective of it, but I think I might be the first one other than him to be able to do that. And I have a feeling they'll feel very similar. So once I do that, I'll have to let you guys know. But this doesn't feel like a monster. I've ridden two monsters. One of them was just like a little blip on a highway, or like on a just rural road. And then another monster that I test rode, I borrowed for a little while. My friend lent it to me when I was between bikes. It was very cool of him to do. It still had the trellis frame. It was your very classic monster. And this is a whole other beast. And I'm really liking it. It feels very modern, and it's got those little bits of nostalgia, but it still has, there's just like a lot of technology in this. There's a lot of functionality. So I'm liking it so far. Will give me some time on the road, see how I continue to enjoy it. But first impressions, excellent. I feel like we've gone less than a mile right now, so we'll have some fun. But back there, I got past 50 miles per hour, and oh, did that feel good. So I'm excited. I'm so excited to take this out. It's obviously doing fine in an urban environment, and I think that's why it's also going to be a good all-arounder, because it's not so like jumpy. There's some bikes that just like, I know they're twitchy, as they say. I guess that's the nice thing about having modes nowadays, is you turn the twitch off, but don't sacrifice any of the power. And they were saying how much the engine gets throttled in these different modes, and seems very handy. So I think we're gonna put around town on a shorter blip, and then take a little breaky break. We can have some fun with our modes. I've got to remember all the press this, do that, but it'll be nice to open this guy up a little and see what's in store for us. Yeah, the weight feels excellent. Like, I don't know, crazy, no anxiety. I can be a little anxious sometimes, but this just feels so me. It feels so me. It feels so natural. Who's gonna give me one? It's a really excellent bike. Yeah, it's got a nice like bounciness to it, if that makes sense too. But the I don't know, the sound is not crazy. It sounds pretty understated. Granted, we all have our stock exhausts on, so that's probably a huge portion of it. But yeah, like I said, box of rocks, premium lawnmower. I think a lot of newer bikes just have a little bit less of that. I feel like this person's gonna try to cut us off. So here we go. We have our little police escort. How cute is that? We're lucky gals over here. But oh my gosh, I feel like at peace. It's kind of a funny thing to say on a test ride in a city I've never been in, on a bike I've never been on, but I feel one with this bike. Let's open her up a little bit. I wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind that at all. Yeah, I don't know. This is not going to be my favorite part of the ride, I feel like. Also, like, the heated grips have all these modes. I think that it's on medium right now, but I'm from Wisconsin and my palms are sweaty. So, I don't know, let me see if I can figure this out real quick. Then I go long press, and then I cycle through them, or no? Range, total, trip to, trip time. Maybe I'm not in the right spot. We will screw with that later. For now, I'll just have some sweaty palms. Yeah, there's so many features. This screen has like a day mode and night mode, which is nice. So it helps with I don't know, like you can consolidate your eyeballs. You don't have to be looking at a blinding screen at nighttime. That'll kind of mess with your night vision, and you don't have to deal with a too dark of one in daytime. There's just like a lot of really thought and attention paid to the user experience, which it's funny, some bikes, you're the afterthought. The bike is the bike and then you're just riding it. But this, like, man, I can tell the bike who's boss. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this handles some curves. The stopping feels excellent. I mean, got some premium brakes on here. Got some nice stuff. Oops. They don't skimp on the brakes, and I think it's nice because I'm accustomed to my scrambler, and you know, it feels right with the brakes. I think she's just testing them out. I was like, does it feel right for everybody? Oh, look at that shit. We get to turn left against the light. This is kind of a nice flex. I think I have my high beams on. No, I don't. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, I like this. That's like, yeah, man, that's one thing that the scrambler just has, like, just funny cornering sometimes. Just like not always ideal. I just have to ride it slightly differently. You got to really counter steer a lot. This, oh, look at this view. Holy crap. Yeah, freaking San Fran is hilly, so this will be gorgeous. And I get to be like, obviously, like in Venom, he was on the Scrambler 1100, but I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna be on Ducatis in San Francisco. I'm Tom Hardy. I'm the main character. I'm the hero of the story. I love this. I love this street. I love what we're gonna do. Except for maybe these little train track things for like whatever electric thing they've got going on. Oh, the pickup. Oh, does that feel good? Wow, holy shit. This is steep. Oh my god, this is like a roller coaster. What a nightmare. Oh, and now we're gonna turn right? Jesus. All right, it's been a long day of riding and I had a fantastic day. We put down a lot of miles. It was absolutely gorgeous to cruise the Pacific Coast Highway. Honestly, one of the toughest rides that I've done to date. I'm definitely more of a intermediate, arguably still beginner rider, not baby beginner, but medium beginner. And some of those twisty, windy roads were quite the challenge for me. But honestly, on this bike, it felt so natural. The anxiety all went away once we started cruising. And I've I've rented bikes and ridden in cities that I don't know before, and there's always that little bit of anxiety. But because of how natural this bike was, and maybe because I'm already in the Ducati family, I just took to it like a duck to water, as they say, and had a great time. So around town was one story. It was great having that urban mode, because I realized after we were riding all around for hours and hours, being in sport mode downtown is not ideal. And it was so great to be able to change those modes. And I think that's a fantastic thing about this bike is the approachability. You know, I always talk about beginner bikes or starter bikes that grow with you. I don't really like the idea, or not everyone has to subscribe to the idea that you have this little bitty baby bike and every year you upgrade to something slightly larger. I think this is such an excellent middle ground for a first or second bike that you keep for a very, very long time, because you could just toggle through the different modes and just stretch more out of it. We talked about the usable torque and the kind of range that this bike has, and I think that's a really cool thing about it. Also, it looks great, it's quite comfortable, and the handling was fantastic. I did. Oh yeah, that was my first time riding a bike with a quick shifter, and it was so, obviously it's so excellent for like freeway riding once you're getting up to speed. There's no screwing around. It's so good to like avoid hand fatigue while doing all that clutch action. And I forgot about, the thing is this bike is like pretty feature rich, and I forgot about a lot of things until halfway through the ride. So it was so nice to have some really good quality time with it. Even just like remembering that the heated grips are an option, and all the other like the modes, the quick shifter was a blast. It was so simple. I think a lot of people, they get kind of nostalgic about the very mechanical aspect of riding a bike. And then you get some of this technology and you start to enjoy that as well. And you still get all the spirit of the bike. That was one thing. I didn't feel the whole like breath of the engine while I was just tooling around downtown. It just like really opened up at you know, higher gears and higher speeds, and you could feel that rumble below you. So I really liked that about it, and it ran a lot. I mean, I'm sure weather plays a role in this, and how fast we were going, but it doesn't run nearly as hot as my air-cooled Ducati Scrambler Cafe Racer. So that was also quite nice about it. And the handling, like, man, I never felt like I was at the edge of any part of this bike. Like I needed more space to wiggle around. It had just tons and tons of maneuverability to me. I thought that was really great. And it picked up just like, I don't know, it did exactly everything I needed it to do. To twist the throttle and it goes, so can't complain for sure. Thank you so much for tuning in to my experience with Ducati USA on the brand new 2021 Monster. I hope to share more cool things like this in the future, and I'm just so happy to have had the opportunity and to share it with you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and ride safe.